Welcome back to this already the final segment of today's Price of Business, and I am your host, Kevin Price, talking to you about you and your business. Charles Alvarez, he's a regular on the Price of Business. Cornerstone Business Academy is his company. He does a phenomenal job of helping companies go to the next level. And I've seen it do it with companies that I'm involved in, seen it with so many of his clients, and always delighted to get him on to talk about what he does and really to talk about the businesses that he admires out there, that he brings to us virtually every week on the program. Charles, welcome.
Always good to be on the show, Kevin. How you doing?
Good. Charles can be found, by the way, at cornerstonebusinessacademy.com. Tell us a little more about what you do and then introduce us to your guests.
Oh, thanks, Kevin. Well, what we do is we truly help companies scale their business by really doing three things. One is helping them generate more leads. Number two is to help their team become more productive on their sales side. And then the last thing is to get everybody on the same page, moving in the same direction to get their business to the next level. And I'm delighted to have Phil Wales on the show with us. Phil, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to talk to you.
Well, we're glad to have you on the program. Kind of give us a little bit of your background.
Well, I'm a business consultant. I've been doing this for 30-plus years. E-Business Strategies, the company that I own and created, is a true consulting firm. We do strategic advisory services, business process standardization, and technology services. What's unique about us is our focus is exclusively on corporate real estate. So it's the internal real estate and facilities organizations inside, for the most part, fairly major corporations. But that is our focus, but we provide all those services into that niche.
Very good. Charles?
So, Phil, can you kind of give us an example of what some of the challenges that your customers or your clients are facing, and then how you help them address those challenges and the true value that you actually deliver to those companies?
Sure. Corporate real estate has traditionally been kind of the back office provider of space. So it really, over the years, as long as the roof didn't leak and the air conditioner worked and the lights were on, people were happy. That's really shifted in the last 10-plus years. Real estate is the second largest expense on the books of most companies next to HR, so next to people. So it has become visible to the C-suite, particularly in times where the companies are trying to cut cost. So there's the challenges that our clients are facing is this the impact of real estate on the bottom line and the ability to adapt the portfolio that they manage and they lease or own to the changes in the business environment. And that's more difficult. With people, you can hire and fire fairly quickly, but with real estate, you typically make very long-term commitments. So a real challenge has been how do they adapt the physical environment to those assets to support a changing business environment. And a lot of that shift has really been in just being at the table, being part of the organization's decision so they know early on what kind of decisions need to be made, and then having an input into how that might happen. So what we've been able to, and so those are basic challenges, and that's what supports or exasperates that challenge is that there's very little data available in a typical company around real estate. They know how many square feet they have, they know what they're paying for leases, those kinds of things, but just true day-to-day analytics don't tend to exist. So what we do with our clients is, and I'll back up a second to say, but there's a lot of companies that do technology implementation in our space that are very good, and there's business consultants in our space. We think we're pretty unique in that we do the whole thing. So we do business strategy and business alignment, and then we enable it with technology. So we have a fairly significant technology practice that can help them identify and implement technology so that they can actually get the metrics they need. So where we help out is that we, again, a lot of our clients are good at what they do, but what they do is fairly tactical. So we help develop kind of future state processes, help them align how they work, how to streamline their operations, identify what are the key metrics that they're not able to see today that the C-suite's going to need to use to measure performance, and then identify a system, whether it's technology or just organizational change or whatever, identify the systems that they need to put in place. So that's kind of the core of the challenges we see day to day, and we have some kind of offshoots of that. We picked up recently a big automotive client, and they've got some unique challenges that we don't typically see, but they fall in the same categories.
I do want to make sure we get the best website for you out there. What is that?
Our website is www.askebiz, so askebiz.com.
Great. Phil, Charles, your next question?
So, Phil, can you give us an example of how you've addressed the challenges you talked about? I think an automotive company. Can you guys show us, what challenges they were having and what you did to fix it and what the ultimate outcome was?
Yes. So the challenge they're running into is that, again, organically they've grown. They do their jobs really well, but there's a lot of disconnect between one group and another. For example, the estimating group that has to determine how much it's going to cost to be ready for a new, automobile line, and the engineering group that designs, and then the construction group that has to build it, and then the real estate group that's maintaining it long term. So what we have done is work with them to look at all of their business processes, streamline those, and look at what happens downstream and upstream so that they know the impact their decisions make on the others, or decisions being made about them. And then once that is known, and figure out what the metrics are they need to measure and the kinds of data and information they need to do their job well, we look at whether or not they have that capability today. It just needs to be tweaked, or do they need to look at something new? Typically, it's something new. Most of our clients run by Excel, which isn't a bad tool, but it's not an enterprise tool. So we help them then look at how to streamline their processes, then enable that with technology, and then get that all in place and trained and up and running. Another example was a technology company, and we looked at about a $7 or $8 million project to get something in place. Their CFO came back and said it would save them that every quarter, and they basically certified that it was saving them about $45 million a year. So it's not rocket science, luckily, but there's so much money in the management of real estate that just gets wasted, that it's fairly easy in most cases when you understand how work is done, and you can give them the good information for them to streamline how they operate.
Yeah, that's interesting, and obviously makes a lot of sense. Talk a little bit about the verticals that you work with.
We're opportunistic. We've a few years ago we didn't do anything in the financials, and now we have 4 banks and 2 insurance companies. So we do a lot of work in financials now. We do a lot of work in oil and gas. Obviously, we're Houston-based. We've picked up a number of manufacturing clients recently, and a few retail clients. But and then we have recently picked up 2 of the largest technology companies in the world. So, again, real estate pretty much is the same. The core is the same client to client. There are uniquenesses, obviously, in between retail real estate and manufacturing real estate and just corporate real estate, but I guess our true verticals today are technology, business requirements, business technology companies, and oil and gas, and then we have some of these others that are out there as well.
Mm-hmm. Charles?
Well, Phil, thank you so much for being on the show today. His company's done some great things. I think recently, Phil, you were on the Houston Fast 100. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Yeah, and the companies that are on that list, you should take a look at those growth rates because they're absolutely outstanding. And I love Phil's unique perspective that, there's a lot of consultants that come there and talk about, implementing a piece of software. There's some that come and talk about, creating a business plan or a strategy. What I love about what Phil does is that he looks at real estate strategically. And like Phil said, there's a whole lot of waste inside of a company's P&L and balance sheet on how they manage real estate. Because let's face it, a lot of these companies that Phil mentioned aren't in the business of managing real estate. And what Phil's firm does is he helps you turn that asset into a truly fantastic asset. So, Phil, we appreciate what you do.
Yeah, very good stuff. Thank you so much for being a part of the program. You're talking about opportunistic. What is the size range, though, of the companies that you typically work with?
They're typically fairly large. Most of our clients are Fortune 50. We have smaller ones. We actually done a little work for some states and some government entities as well, but most of our clients are very, very large.
Yeah, sounds like it. And thanks so much for being with us.
My genuine pleasure. Thank you.
Really good stuff. And by the way, askebiz.com. It's really that simple. Very good site. Excellent resources there and information. Charles Alvarez, you can learn more about him at cornerstonebusinessacademy.com. Gentlemen, thanks to both of you.
My pleasure.
When we come back, much more for you on tomorrow's program. Do want to remind you the program continues 24/7 at priceofbusiness.com. Plus, the best content here will be found over there at usdatareview.com. Have a great day. Spend it wisely on this station.